Hello guys, today we're going to be looking into quadratic inequalities and how to solve them. So let's just get started straight with an example. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to solve it. We're going to treat it like a regular quadratic equation. So we're just going to take this, we're just going to find its factors, and through its factors we're going to solve it. So I'm just going to skip through this. So now that I've found its factors, I can now find the solutions, obviously because this has to equal 0, this has to equal 0. So we know that our solutions are x is equal to minus 4, and x is equal to minus 2. From here, what we're going to do, we need to determine whether the quadratic inequality is either internal, which I'll put a picture on the screen, or external. And what I mean by that is if it's bounded by 2 points, as in it comes from this point to this point, or it's infinitely stretching from 2 separate points outwards, if that makes sense. To determine that, we have 2 main methods. We either we either do it mathematically with a number line, or we do it visually by just looking at which direction the symbol is. I'm going to go through the first method as well. Okay, so our first method mainly involves the use of a number line, just like in primary school. So if we get a number line here, and we plot the points -4 and -2, and we're trying to find where the inequality is either between the 2 points, as in like it's -4 and x is between -4 and -2, or it's onwards from -4 onwards from -2. The simplest way to really figure that out is find a number in the middle, input that into our quadratic, and see what number we get, and see if it's actually less than 0. So a middle number between that is -3. If we get x squared plus 8x plus 6.
It was 6x.
Oh, 6x plus 8, sorry. We just input -3 into the equation, and we should, if it's an internal inequality, this should be less than 0. So let's do that now. So as you can see, I've solved it, and I've found, after obviously put -3 squared is 9, -3 times 6 is -18, plus 8 less than 0, or that all simplifies to -1. -1 is less than 0. So from this, we know for a fact the inequality is -4. It's between -4 and -2. So the inequality, the number, could be anywhere between -4 and -2. Now for our next method, it's a bit less mathematical, but it's more like visual and physical. So from this method, we know that our quadratic here is equal to y. So y is less than 0. So we know every single x value must satisfy the fact that y is less than 0. And in the quadratic graph, if y is less than 0, that means, well, quadratic comes here. Now I'll just draw it. We've got a graph here. This part here is where y is equal to 0. This part, this kind of area here, y is less than 0. And as you can see, ironically, it's internal. That means if y is less than 0, that means that quadratic will always be an internal quadratic. All you need to do is solve it. Same as likewise. So for example, if the quadratic was larger than 0, if I draw the graph out again, that means it would have to satisfy for values of y that are these values and these values here. So it means the x values have to be these ones here rather than the ones internally, because the ones internally are always going to be less than 0. The y is always going to be less than 0 when the x values are internal. So from this, all you really need to know is if the quadratic is larger than 0, that means it's external. If 0 is larger than quadratic, that means it's internal. So we're going to go through our second example. This time I'm not going to really go through the process. Well, I'm going to go through the process, but I'm not going to explain it as much. I'm just going to do it. So this question is x squared plus 2x minus 35 greater than 0. So obviously go through first step, solve the quadratic. So now that I've solved the quadratic, I'm going to move on to determining whether it's an internal inequality or an external inequality. So obviously you've got the 2 methods. I'm going to go the more mathematical method because it's easier and more people understand it. So let's plot a number line from -5 all the way to 7. So pick any number. I'm going to probably pick 0 because it's the easiest one to work with. So 0. In general, if one solution is a negative number, one solution is a positive number, the best number you can probably pick is 0. Because if you just put 0 into x squared plus 2x, you'll just be left with minus 35. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
No, that's right.
No, 0 minus 35 isn't bigger than 0. So after that brief error, we know that, what's it, minus 35. Actually, I need to put it in. So we got, was it 0 squared plus 2, 0 minus 35, larger than 0. Is minus 35 larger than 0? No, it isn't. Therefore, it cannot be an internal quadratic. Therefore, it has to be external. So, hey Adam, how do you write an external quadratic? That's a fantastic question, young man. Or woman. Or anything in between. Well, it's pretty simple, to be honest. All we have to do is just imagine a graph, yeah? So you imagine a graph like this. Okay, we've got minus 5 here and 7 here, yeah? So the x values we want to represent are the ones here, the ones that are not internal. That means that x is a good angle, yeah. So minus 5 has to be larger than x, because, you know, minus 5 is here, x is here. Minus 5 will always be larger than x. And 7 will have to always be less than x, if that makes sense, because these represent the x values and 7 is here, so x is always going to be larger than 7, and these x values here represent the other side, which have to be less than minus 5. Well, this is Adam's head speaking after execution from Miss Perry. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. I appreciate every one of you who clicks on our videos. There's not a lot of you, but so please subscribe. We really need viewers. We want to start making money because we're poor.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to get out the hut. We have to sleep in sleeping bags, and so to get out of the situation, we want to make some money. So please subscribe. Please watch at least several hours of our content to increase the watch time, please. Please watch or repeat. You're studying, just like play it on your phone and just just watch YouTube on a computer or something, yeah? So just set it on repeat. And so just get as much watch time as possible. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. Love, shout out to Mirren, and have a good day.